a high position, a big salary, a beautiful house, everything that's supposed to mean you've made it, but on the inside, empty. Relationships that feel shallow, and the happiness that success was supposed to bring, never actually shows up. Stephen Covey kept seeing this exact pattern over and over again during 25 years of working with successful people, and he got curious why. So he read 200 years of literature on success, from 1776 all the way to today, and he found something that's been missing from almost every modern self-help book. The result became a book that sold over 25 million copies, been translated into 38 languages, and was named by Time the most influential business book of the 20th century. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Let's break it down. Top. Part 0. The Paradigm Shift. Before we get into the 7 habits themselves, there's one thing we need to understand first, because it's the foundation for everything else. Covey found that before World War I, books about success focused on what he calls the character ethic, things like humility, integrity, courage, patience, hard work. But after the war, there was a major shift toward the personality ethic. Success became about image, attitude, technique, about how to influence people and how to sell yourself. This is shallow success. A quick fix, fixing the surface without ever touching the root. It's like cutting down weeds without pulling out the roots. The weeds just grow back. The problem never actually gets solved. Covey realized real change happens from the inside out, not by changing your behavior or your attitude, but changing the way you see the world, your paradigm. And that's where the 7 habits comes from. 3 stages of maturity. There's one more concept we need before diving into the habits themselves. There are 3 stages of human maturity. Stage 1. Dependence. You're the one who has to take care of me. If something goes wrong, it's your fault. This is the paradigm of an infant. But a lot of adults get stuck right here. Stage 2. Independence. I can do this myself. I'm responsible for myself. This is where most people aim for. Most self-help literature stops here. But Covey says there's a level beyond that. Stage 3. Interdependence. We can do this together. We can create something bigger together. This is true maturity, realizing you can stand on your own, but choosing to work with others because the results are so much bigger. Habits 1 through 3 move you from dependence to independence. This is called the private victory. Habits 4 through 6 move you from independence to interdependence. This is called the public victory. And habit 7 is the ongoing renewal that keeps all the other habits alive. Now let's get into habit number 1. Staff. Habit 1. Be proactive. One day in a library, Covey came across a single paragraph in an old book that changed his life forever. It said roughly this: there is a gap between stimulus and response, and the key to our growth and happiness lies in how we use that gap. Think about that for a second. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You get angry. Your boss criticizes your work. You feel hurt. Your stocks drop. You panic. We assume this is automatic. Stimulus goes in, response comes out. Click. Done. But that's not actually true. Between what happens to you and how you respond to it, there's a gap. And inside that gap is the freedom to choose. Reactive people let outside conditions control them. Bad weather puts them in a bad mood. How other people treat them determines how they feel. They're driven by feelings, by circumstances, by conditioning. Proactive people realize they have the ability to choose their own response. They're not controlled by outside conditions. They're driven by values they've consciously chosen for themselves. Circle of concern versus circle of influence. Covey describes 2 circles. The circle of concern. Everything you care about but can't actually control. The weather, the economy, the past, other people's behavior. The circle of influence. The things you can actually affect. Your attitude, your effort, how you respond, your decisions. Reactive people spend their energy inside the circle of concern. They complain about things they can't change. The result? Their circle of influence keeps shrinking. Proactive people focus on the circle of influence. They work on what they can actually control. The result? Their circle of influence keeps growing. The question for you: where have you been spending most of your time? The circle of concern or the circle of influence? Proactive language versus reactive language. Listen to the language you use day to day. Reactive language sounds like, "There's nothing I can do. That's just how I am. He makes me so angry. They'll never let me do that." Proactive language sounds like, "Let's look at our options. I can choose a different approach. I control my own feelings. I'm going to find a way to make this work." Language reflects paradigm, and paradigm creates reality. Habit 1 is the foundation for every other habit. Without proactivity, without taking responsibility for your own life, none of the other habits can actually work. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. Covey asked you to do something a little uncomfortable. Imagine your own funeral. 3 years from now, your family, your friends, your colleagues, all gathered to remember you. 4 people will speak: a family member, a close friend, a coworker, and someone from your community or place of worship. What do you want them to say about you? How do you want to be remembered? As someone who was financially successful? Or as someone who was kind and loved their family well? As someone who achieved all their career goals? Or as someone who made a real difference in other people's lives? This question forces you to clarify what actually matters most to you. Most people spend their lives busily climbing the ladder of success, only to discover, once they reach the top, that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. Habit 2 is about making sure your ladder is leaning against the right wall. Right from the start, everything is created twice. Here's a powerful principle from Covey: everything is created twice. First, the mental creation. You imagine it in your mind first. An architect draws the blueprint before any building goes up. Second, the physical creation. You bring it into reality. Habit 1 says, you are the programmer. You're responsible. Habit 2 says, now write the program. Create the blueprint for your life. Personal mission statement. The most effective way to begin with the end in mind is to develop a personal mission statement. Think of it as your personal constitution, a written standard that becomes the criteria for evaluating and directing everything in your life. Covey offers some guiding questions. What do you want to accomplish in your life? What unique contribution do you want to make? Who do you want to become? And what values matter most to you? Once your mission is clear, day-to-day decisions become a lot easier. You have a compass that always points north. Leadership versus management. Covey makes a useful distinction here. Management is efficiency in climbing the ladder. Leadership is making sure the ladder is leaning against the right wall. Picture a team efficiently clearing a path through a jungle. The manager is sharpening machetes, improving technique, motivating the workers. Everything's running smoothly. Then the leader climbs the tallest tree, scans the horizon, and shouts, "Wrong jungle!" The manager yells back, "Who cares? Look how efficiently we're working." That's the difference between doing things right, management, and doing the right thing, leadership. Habit 2 is about personal leadership. Making sure you're in the right jungle before you start working hard. Habit 3. Put first things first. Habits 1 and 2 are about self-awareness and leadership. Habit 3 is about self-management and discipline. This is where your vision gets executed day to day. This is where the rubber meets the road. The Time Management Matrix. Covey introduces a tool that changes how you see time, the Time Management Matrix. 4 quadrants based on urgency and importance. Quadrant 1, important and urgent. 3 C's, pressing problems, project deadlines, unavoidable, has to get done. Quadrant 2, important but not urgent. Prevention, planning, building relationships, learning, personal renewal. This is the quadrant of highly effective people. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important. Interruptions, some calls, some meetings. Looks important but isn't. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important. Trivial stuff. Time wasters. Activities that are fun but not productive. Most people live in quadrants 1 and 3, constantly reacting to urgent things, burning out, then escaping into quadrant 4 to recover. Highly effective people spend most of their time in quadrant 2. They focus on prevention so crises happen less often. They plan ahead so they're not constantly driven by urgency. They invest in relationships and learning, which pays off massively over time. Say no with courage. To spend more time in Quadrant 2, you have to learn to say no to other things. Covey puts it this way: you have to decide what your highest priorities are and have the courage, pleasantly, smiling, without apology, to say no to other things. The way you do that is by having an even bigger yes burning inside you. Once you're clear on your mission, from habit 2, decisions about what to do and what to decline become a lot easier. Weekly planning. Covey recommends weekly planning, not daily. Each week, first, identify your key roles: individual, partner, parent, professional, and so on. Second, for each role, set 2 or 3 important goals that support your bigger mission. Third, schedule time to actually work on those goals. Fourth, each day, review and adjust as needed. The focus isn't on managing your time, it's on managing yourself. Not prioritizing your schedule, but scheduling your priorities. Habit 4. Think win-win. Most people see life as a competition. If I win, you lose. If I get the promotion, that means you don't. If my business succeeds, my competitor's business fails. This is the scarcity paradigm, the assumption that the pie stays the same size. If I get a bigger slice, you get a smaller one. Covey challenges this with the abundance paradigm. There's always enough for everyone. Someone else's success doesn't take anything away from yours. 6 paradigms of human interaction: win-lose. I win, you lose. The authoritarian, competitive style: lose-win, I lose, you win. The pushover style: no standards, no expectations. Lose-lose. If I can't win, neither can you. The destructive style: win, I win, and I genuinely don't care whether you win or lose. The self-centered style. And finally, win-win or no deal. We look for a solution that benefits both sides. Or we agree not to do the deal at all. This requires both courage and consideration at the same time. Win-win is the only sustainable paradigm in an interdependent world. 5 dimensions of win-win. First, character. The foundation of win-win is character. Integrity, maturity, courage balanced with consideration, and an abundance mentality. Second, relationships. You build and maintain relationships by continuously making deposits into what Covey calls the emotional bank account. Third S, agreements. You make expectations clear and explicit, desired results, guidelines, available resources, accountability, and consequences. Fourth, systems. The systems in an organization have to support win-win. If the reward system is competitive, people will behave competitively, no matter what you tell them. Fifth, process. There are 4 steps to reaching a win-win solution. See the problem from the other person's point of view. Identify the key issues and concerns involved. Figure out what results would be a fully acceptable solution for both sides and identify new options to achieve those results. Win-win isn't a technique, it's a total philosophy of human interaction. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Imagine going to an eye doctor. You say, I can't see clearly. The doctor takes off his own glasses and hands them to you. Here, try these. I've worn them for 10 years. They work great for me. You put them on, and everything gets even blurrier. What's the problem? The doctor says, these glasses work perfectly. For me. Sounds ridiculous, right? But this is exactly what we do in everyday communication. We listen with the intent to reply, not with the intent to understand. Autobiographical listening. Covey says most people listen at one of 4 levels. Level 1, ignoring, not really listening at all. Level 2, pretend listening. Yeah, okay. Okay, while your mind is somewhere else entirely. Level 3, selective listening, only hearing certain parts. Level 4, attentive listening, actually paying close attention to the words. But even at level 4, we often listen through an autobiographical filter. We listen by referencing our own experiences. The result? We respond in one of 4 ways. We evaluate, I think you're wrong. We probe, why do you feel that way? We advise, here's what you should do, or we interpret what you're really feeling is. Ha 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 ha. All 4 of these fail to truly understand the other person with empathy. Empathetic listening. The highest level of listening is empathetic listening, listening with the genuine intent to understand, Mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, you try to step into the other person's frame of reference. You see the world the way they see it. You understand their paradigm. You feel what they feel. Empathetic listening gives people what Covey calls psychological air. Once someone feels understood, they open up. Their defenses come down, and then they become willing to listen to you too. Ethos, pathos, logos. Ancient Greek philosophy taught 3 modes of persuasion, and the order matters a great deal. First, ethos, your personal credibility. The trust you've built. This is your emotional bank account. Second, pathos, the empathetic side, alignment with the emotional thrust of the other person's communication. Third, logos, logic, the reasoning part of your message. This order is crucial. Most people jump straight to logos without ever building ethos and pathos first. But if people don't trust you, ethos, and don't feel like you understand them, pathos, they're not going to listen to your logic, logos, no matter how good your argument is. Seek first to understand isn't just a communication technique. It's a matter of character. Habit 6. Synergize. Synergy means the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. 1 + 1 = 3, or even more. Picture 2 pieces of wood. Each one can hold about 100 kilograms on its own. Stacked together, they should hold 200, right? Wrong. If joined together properly, they can hold far more than 200. The combined strength is exponential. That's synergy in a physical sense. In a human context, synergy is what happens when people with real differences collaborate and create solutions far better than any one of them could have come up with alone. Valuing differences. The key to synergy is valuing differences. Most people see differences as a threat. You disagree with me? Then you're wrong. Effective people see differences as an opportunity. You see it differently? Great, tell me more. Let's find something better by combining our perspectives. Covey puts it this way: the real strength of a relationship is having another point of view. Sameness is not unity. Uniformity is not unity. Unity is complementarity, fitting together, not being the same. Differences as strength. Think about the human body. The eye can't hear. The ear can't see. Is that a problem? No. Those differences are exactly what make them powerful as a system. The same is true for teams, families, or organizations. People with different strengths, different perspectives, different talents, when they work together with real mutual respect, create extraordinary results. Synergy requires 3 things. Character, from habits 1 through 3, you have to be independent before you can be interdependent. A win-win mindset, from habit 4, and empathetic listening. From habit 5, genuinely understanding the other person. When those 3 things are present, synergy happens naturally. Habit 7. Sharpen the Saw. Covey tells a story about someone who comes across a man frantically sawing down a tree. "What are you doing?" the person asks. "Sawing down this tree." "Isn't that obvious?" "You look exhausted. How long have you been at this?" "Over 5 hours. I'm completely worn out. Why don't you take a break and sharpen your saw?" "I don't have time to sharpen the saw. I'm too busy sawing." This is the productivity paradox. Sometimes you have to stop working in order to become more productive. 4 dimensions of renewal. Habit 7 is about ongoing self-renewal across 4 dimensions. First, physical. Exercise, nutrition, stress management. At least 30 minutes, 3 to 6 times a week. Focused on endurance, flexibility, and strength. This sits squarely in Quadrant 2, an investment that pays huge dividends. Second, mental or intellectual. Learning, reading, writing, teaching. Read quality material for an hour a day. Keep a journal. Reflect. Avoid mental junk food. Too much TV, mindless scrolling. Third, spiritual. Clarifying your values, committing to them, study, meditation. Revisit your mission statement. Practice meditation or prayer. Spend time in nature. Listen to music that lifts you up. Fourth, social and emotional. Service, empathy, synergy. Invest in your relationships. Make deposits into your emotional bank account. Look for opportunities to serve others. These 4 dimensions are all connected. Neglect one, and it affects the others. You need balance. The upward spiral. When you consistently practice habit 7, you create what Covey calls an upward spiral, a spiral of learning, commitment, and action at increasingly higher levels. You learn, you commit, you do, you learn more deeply, and the cycle repeats. Each time you go through the 7 habits again, you understand the principles more deeply than before. Renewal is both the principle and the process. That allows us to keep moving up that spiral. Schlussing inside out. After going through all 7 habits, we end up right back where we started. Real change happens from the inside out. You can't change other people. You can't change your circumstances, but you can change yourself. And when you change, when your paradigm shifts, the way you see the world shifts, and your world shifts along with it. Character versus personality habits 1 through 3 build your private character, the foundation of effectiveness. This is the private victory. Habits 4 through 6 build your public character, your ability to work effectively with others. This is the public victory. And habit 7 makes sure you keep renewing and strengthening that character over time. But it all starts with character, not personality. The personality ethic tries to fix you from the outside. Techniques, tactics, quick fixes. The character ethic changes you from the inside. Principles, values, integrity. Only the character ethic leads to real, lasting success. Habits can be learned. Here's the good news. Habits can be learned. Your character is essentially a composite of your habits, and a habit forms at the intersection of 3 things: knowledge, what to do and why; skill, how to do it; and desire, the motivation to actually do it. When all 3 of those come together, a habit is formed, and with consistent practice, that habit becomes second nature. It becomes part of who you are. Start now. Don't try to master all 7 habits at once. Start with just one. Maybe habit 1, becoming more proactive, taking responsibility for your life. Or habit 2, writing your own personal mission statement. Or habit 3, planning your week with a focus on quadrant 2. Pick one. Practice it until it becomes part of you. Then move on to the next. As Covey put it, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Your future is created by what you do today. Tomorrow. So pick one habit and start. Because true success with yourself, starts from the inside.